Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Trick Wallace. We got a new deals video today. Let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm gonna pick out about 10 games total that I think you should consider adding to your Switch collection right now. But go ahead and stay after those 10 games. I will have a sizzle reel like normal with a few more options that you might want to consider. All right, let's start this video. Okay, the first game we have is Subnautica. Now, Subnautica is an underwater survival game on an alien planet. It's been very popular the last couple of years on a lot of Let's Play channels. A lot of Twitch streamers have been playing Subnautica. I will admit, it is a game that I will never buy. I have a massive fear of deep water, so this whole game just spooks me out and makes my palms all sweaty. But it is a very good deal right now. It is now matching its previous low for 50% off for $14.99. And apparently the Switch conversion is rock solid. Even people who have played the PC version, I've heard a lot of comments to them saying that, wow, this is just a really great way to play it portably if you want to do it that way. So it's definitely a worthwhile port on the Switch. So make sure you check out Subnautica. All right, next we have Soundfall, which is at its new lowest price ever, 40% off for $17.99. This is not a very old game. I think it only came out about 4-5 months ago. This is a dungeon crawler looter shooter mixed with a rhythm action kind of layer on top of it. So if you are a big fan of Crypt of the Necro Dancer or the Zelda variant of that game, this might be right up your alley if you like the idea of an action game where you're kind of coinciding with the beat of the music. It got some pretty decent reviews, so I think for people who like that style of game, I think they're gonna get a lot of enjoyment. So make sure you check out Soundfall. Next game I want to recommend to you that's on sale right now is Little Nightmares 2. This has been on sale quite a few times. It is matching its previous new low price of $14.99, so that is 50% off. I am not a big horror genre fan in general, but the Little Nightmares games are something that I personally have gotten a lot of enjoyment out of. I think if you're not a big fan of the genre, but you think you might have enough of an interest you want to dip your toes in, I think the Little Nightmares games are about the best you can do. I think the gameplay itself is really accessible. It's sort of a simple platformer, puzzle kind of solving kind of game. To be clear though, if you don't want to get spooked out by anything, it's still not a game you want to play because it's a lot of creepiness. There's definitely some jump scares, but I think, like I said, if you want to try out the horror genre, this would be a good place to jump in and start. So make sure you check out Little Nightmares 2. Also on sale right now is Phenotopia: The Awakening. This is a game that has not gotten its due. This is a fantastic platformer RPG throwback, kind of like what we all wished the original Zelda 2 would have been. It's really phenomenal. I feel like it really flew under the radar. If you are into a big, meaty RPG adventure, especially if you like that Zelda 2 sort of side-scrolling kind of action, I think you're going to really like this one. So if you think you're into that style of game, definitely give it a shot. I think the devs really could use another boost to their sales. Apparently, this one kind of fell flat despite the solid reviews and the solid reception from the fans who have received the game. So not everything can be a hit, but I would love to see the developers get a little boost to their income so they could create something new, because these guys are obviously talented. Next game that I want to recommend to you is What the Dub. It is currently matching its previous low, 50% off, which brings it down to $3.99. This is such a fun party game. The concept is simple. It'll show you a movie clip, and then there will be a part of the movie clip where there is no audio and you fill in the blank. You'll use your cellular device actually to play this game, just kind of like the Jackbox party games. You'll put in what you want the character to say, and then all of the answers will get played back in the video, and you kind of vote for who you think is the best. Real simple stuff, but it's just so much fun. It's really funny. You might not think it would work really well with kids, but it actually works really well. My kids love it. Thankfully, the game has some adjustments built in to make it a little bit easier for them. One of the biggest things is extending the amount of time for them to enter in their answer. That's the biggest thing, is that my kids can spell fine, but it might take them a little bit longer to kind of think about what they want to put in and type it into their device. So thankfully, there are those accessibility options to make it a little easier for kids or other people who might take a little bit longer. But yeah, just a really great, silly, stupid party game. Definitely check this one out. All right, the next game I want to recommend to you is Sparklight. It is matching its previous low, 75% off, which I believe brings it down to $624, which I think is a phenomenal deal for this game. This is a roguelike, but very much drenched in a sort of Legend of Zelda style, very similar sort of hack and slash. You're going to be collecting a lot of items that you get to permanently keep that help you traverse over the land. But the roguelike element is that the world is shifting, and your main character's base of operations is actually this big floating blimp barge thing. So when you die, you go back up to the barge. The world of Geodia, that was what it's called. It will shift around and the lands will kind of change, and you'll have to re-find your way through. You'll lose a little bit of your currency when you die. But again, just like many other roguelikes, there's all kinds of upgrades, great new weapons, great new gear to get. So if you're a fan of Zelda games and roguelikes, this is a match made in heaven. It's not perfect, and really my biggest complaint is that I think it's too short. I think just as you feel like you've gotten a lot of cool gear, a lot of weapons, it kind of just ends. But those are the kind of games you want to buy on sale, honestly, because I mean, if I'm going to recommend a short game, then might as well get a good deal on it. Okay, my next recommendation to you is Knights and Bikes. Knights and Bikes is currently at its lowest price ever for a full 50% off, bringing it down to $9.99, I believe, which is a phenomenal deal for this game. This is comes from Double Fine Studios, and it's very obvious to anyone who has jumped into any of Double Fine's games that that is what you're getting here. If you played the Costume Quest games, it definitely has a similar feel, not in the gameplay, but in sort of the comedic elements, and there's just a real distinct Double Fine charm that comes along with it. The actual gameplay is a bit more of like a hack and slash beat 'em up. It does have a co-op, so you get to play with the two girls, but it's just a really fun, down-to-earth game about two little girls on a little adventure together, and ultimately there's some sort of fantastical elements that are going on in their town, and they have to get to the bottom of it. So if you like Double Fine's games, and you know what I mean by that, you're going to really like Knights and Bikes if you haven't already tried it. Now is the great time to jump into it. All right, the next recommendation is Shakedown Hawaii. Shakedown Hawaii is the sequel to Retro City Rampage, which made quite a big splash back in the day on multiple different platforms. Basically, Retro City Rampage took the top-down GTA-style gameplay, but made it 8-bit. This brings it up to more of like a 16-bit kind of style. Now, I've heard some debate back and forth about whether this one or the Retro City Rampage is the better game. I personally think that this is the better game. I think there's some deeper mechanics going on with buying up land and roughing up the citizens to sort of drive down values of the buildings around you. I just think there's a little more depth to the gameplay, and it's a little less shallow. And obviously, I don't have to tell you that the game is definitely a step up visually. I just think overall, I think it's a little more of a polished version of the original game, but some people like the original better. But I think at 50% off for $9.99, I think this is a really great time to jump into Shakedown Hawaii. The next game is Inmost. This comes from Chucklefish Games, which has a good pedigree of making some really great titles. It is at its lowest price ever. I believe it's 75% off for $3.74. This is a really unique game. It actually has sort of three coinciding storylines. One of them you play as a little girl. Another one you play just like a regular dude. And then this other style of gameplay, you are this sort of knight in armor fighting his way through these shadowy blobs. I haven't actually played this game yet, so I'm just sort of talking from my perspective of what I understand about it. This is the sale I'm picking it up on. Now, the reason I'm picking it up on this sale is I do know that this is a very short game. From my understanding, you could finish it anywhere from about 3 to 5 hours. In fact, the devs, even on the product page, say, hey, this is a game that's intended to be completed in one sitting. I think that the game's 3 storylines sort of converge together in one big sort of aha moment at the end. And I think for that to really get its full effect, the devs would appreciate people playing it in one sitting. So I feel like the price now for a game that's only going to take you 3 to 5 hours is probably the right price. I think $3.74 for a few hours is a perfectly fair deal, and I'm really looking forward to checking it out. The reviews are very solid, so make sure that you check out Inmost. So my final recommendation is Alwa's Legacy. Alwa's Legacy, I think, is one of the most underrated Metroidvanias on the Nintendo Switch. This is an absolutely drop-dead, gorgeous sort of 16 to 32-bit style throwback. It just has a beautiful world, great dialogue, really cool skill upgrade trees. I just can't think about anything bad to say about Alwa's Legacy other than that I don't think enough people have played it. And it's just a phenomenal game. If I didn't already say, it is now 50% off for $8.99. That is just a phenomenal deal for this game. You're going to get about 8 to 12 hours of solid Metroidvania-style exploration gameplay. Kind of depends on how much of a completionist you are. If you just blaze right through it, you could probably get into that 8 hours. But I think for the price, I think it's a really good deal. And I would not let this major hidden gem fly past you. All right, but don't leave yet. I've got the sizzle reel coming up with a few more great deals. right, guys, I hope you found some deals that you like. If you don't mind, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I hope you have great gaming, tricksters. Bye-bye.